If you think piracy is random gunmen in a skiff, this story will change how you see the sea. I'll take you onto the deck of the Franklin Ridge as RPGs slap steel and 8 sailors race to kill pumps before fumes become a firestorm. Then I'll show you what the Navy saw from the sky, Seahawks lining up Hellfires while a drone quietly labels targets. Finally, you'll see why those waterproof containers mattered. Not loot, but ledgers, satellite phones, and a calendar that turns pirates into the front office of a global smuggling economy. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. 18 fast skiffs fanned out like a net at dawn. Why did 8 sailors become the only wall between 3.2 million gallons of crude and a floating fireball? The USNS Franklin Ridge pushed east of the Arabian Sea at a steady transit speed, lights low, decks quiet. It sailed under a Navy contract with a lean security footprint and a short defensive bubble that barely stretched past the rail. No escort, no deck guns, just a handful of trained sailors with small arms and a plan built around time and damage control. By 3:18 a.m., the swarm showed itself in 3 wedges, closing from different arcs at 40 to 45 knots. Each skiff carried men with RPG-7s and K-103 rifles. One had a mounted DSHK, the kind that chews through sheet metal and tears cables on a single burst. Voices crackled on encrypted handhelds, tight and clipped, passing bearings and spacing. The Franklin Ridge read the contacts as a coordinated raid with rehearsed spacing and speed calls. A few minutes later, the first wedge lunged. The first volley hit at 3:26. 2 RPGs smashed into the outer skin near deck piping and insulation. A tremor ran the length of the hull. Small caliber rounds tested the bridge windows and lit up the radar shroud. On the port quarter, 3 skiffs rose and fell in sync, ladders up, hooks ready. They tried to kiss the hull at mid-ladder height, waiting for a wave lift to carry the prongs onto the rail. Inside, alarms chimed. The heat sensors near the pump room edged up fast. Crude does not explode on its own, but atomized spray plus air at the right mix will ignite. That is the line the crew raced to hold. Grounding matters because static can jump. Killing pumps stops pressure that can turn a leak into a mist. One hot shard striking a spray cone can flash into a fire that runs the catwalks and eats the ship. 8 sailors split and moved. 2 went straight to pump shutdowns and valves. 2 pulled hose teams to pre-wet hotspots and cool the hits. 4 formed a tight firing arc outboard with controlled slow fire, aiming for engines and helms, not the men. On the bridge, the officer keyed a mayday and called contact bearings, speed, and count to the fleet net. The helmsman held course, waiting for orders that would come in seconds. Tankers live with risk and build around it. Inert gas systems strip oxygen from cargo tanks, turning the inside into a space where fire cannot take hold. Segregation keeps damage from traveling tank to tank, but a hit near vent masts shifts the math because vents are the lungs of the system. A rupture there can pull oxygen back into the mix or push vapor onto the deck where sparks live. The second wave rolled in harder. The DSHK on a centerline skiff raked the superstructure, punching holes and peeling paint. The Franklin Ridge fought back with flares that forced skippers to blink and back off, then took evasive helm orders, a slow S-turn that built a dirty wake. Damage control drills ran live. Fire parties checked heat with IR thermometers, logged temperatures, and called green where it stayed cool. Ladders failed again. The controlled list set by ballasting shoved the rail high on one side and low on the other, ruining the angle. Wakewash took the rest, slamming skiffs off the hull at the last second. With fires still cold and pumps quiet, the tanker bought minutes, enough to matter. On the pirates' net, voices shifted, boarding calls faded. New orders pushed for disable and capture. They wanted the engines dead, the rudder stuck, the ship adrift. That change would meet an answer from above in a way they did not plan for. A drone pins targets. 2 MH-60R Seahawks streak in, their rotors beating a hard rhythm over whitecaps. Why did the pirates' plan unravel the moment the Navy started reading their playbook from the sky? The answer starts with what the aircrew could see that no one on the water could. The ISR drone stitched thermal signatures to radar tracks and flagged the skiff still running hot after the failed ladder rush. On the tanker's plot, bearings and speeds lined up with the feed, so the Seahawks rolled in with Hellfires hung under the pylons and a 20mm cannon warmed up. The pilots checked in on a clean net, took the drone's target package, and shifted to a kill and capture rhythm the raiders didn't expect. The skiff scattered when the first helicopter broke the horizon, then turned like a flock and reformed around a 110-foot command vessel, riding low with fuel drums and spare outboards. Short encrypted bursts popped on VHF, not voice, just tones that marked time-on-target calls. The command boat swung to put wakes between the Seahawks and the DSHK gun skiff, trying to buy angles. It didn't hold. The drone laced the heavy gun boat through spray, the lead MH-60R rode the beam, and a Hellfire walked in on the glare of hot metal The missile hit off the stern quarter and broke the mount. The heavy machine gun stopped. A second skiff tried to run down sea on a foaming line. The wing helicopter slid left, pulled a gentle pedal turn, and stitched the waterline with 20 millimeters. The engine coughed, the hull slewed, and the crew threw hands up. From over the tanker's wake, 2 RHIBs punched out, green water slamming the bows. Boarding teams closed on survivors and grabbed weapons, radios, and the man with a throat mic still hot. Over choppy water, MH-60R targeting, leans on sensors that don't care about glare. The turret under the nose carries EO/IR that hunts heat and shape, not color. Laser designation matters because fast boats bounce and yaw, and a steady spot lets the missile think in straight lines while the sea tries to draw squiggles. The drone held the lays, the helo confirmed code, and they kept the basket small even as whitecaps broke over the targets. Debris fields told their own story. Waterproof containers bobbed up, taped tight. Inside were sat phones with call logs, GPS units with breadcrumb trails, and fuel invoices that matched drum counts. No ransom scripts, no hostage kits, just routes, schedules, and notes on safe anchorages. On a soaked tablet, waypoints ran from coves near Makala across to beaches west of Bosaso with timestamps that fit tanker lanes. The ladder crews were the edge. Behind them sat fuel traffickers who arranged storage and escorts on both shores. Behind them, money men moved payments through shell accounts that touched state-linked firms and enjoyed cover that let fuel flow while everyone looked the other way. One entry sat bold on a digital ledger, FR Delta Replacement Run. It tied to a window that matched the tanker's track and suggested the shipment was pre-sold. The attack wasn't a gamble, it was a make good. Miss the window, break the chain, hit it, deliver the cargo by force and settle accounts later with a new hull and a new flag. With the network exposed, the Navy flipped to offense. Operation Title Cut put the command vessel in the crosshairs. The drone marked it, a Hellfire gutted the wheelhouse, and a second shot blew the deck cache of fuel. Boarding teams scooped hard drives from the water and found 6 months of operations tied to rotes, payouts, and pickups. Now the fight moved from wakes and muzzle flashes to a wall of pins on a map stretching from Makala to Kandala and beyond, and every line on it paid for someone's war. This wasn't a pirate raid, it was a missed delivery in a shadow market, exposed because 8 sailors kept a tanker from becoming a torch. The fight on the water ripped open a ledger that tracked deals, contacts, and schedules across the Gulf of Aden and beyond. That's the real story. If you want deeper dives into how navies unspool criminal economies from one boarded skiff, subscribe and tell me which maritime hotspot to map next. The ledgers named 43 routes, only a handful were hit. So which lanes still run tonight, and who's protecting them while the rest of the network adapts?